So, the room is quiet. There is no sound, no movement, just the screen. It's a flat, cold light resting on your face. You don't really feel it, but it's there. Your hand is steady. The phone sits in your palm with a weight you've already accepted. It isn't heavy. It isn't light. It's just familiar. You look at it, and you feel entirely in command of what happens next.
Your thumb moves, slow, precise. You do it almost without effort, and the screen follows exactly. There's no delay, and there's no resistance. You move, it moves. You stop, it stops. Because everything perfectly responds to your subtle movements, it creates this feeling. It feels like control. You don't think about it because nothing interrupts you. Nothing pushes back. Nothing asks for anything you didn't already decide to give. And that is the architecture of the illusion. Control doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like smoothness.
But control doesn't disappear all at once. It doesn't break in a single dramatic moment. And it is never taken from you by force. It just fades, silently, inside a frictionless environment that feels exactly the same as making a choice. Smooth systems don't signal loss, they remove friction. And without friction, nothing indicates that anything has changed. By the time anything actually reaches your conscious awareness, the real decision has already been made.
It doesn't happen in big decisions. There is no moment where you lose control. It happens right here, in a 300 millisecond window, a micro moment. Your attention shifts, not fast enough to skip, but not slow enough to stay. Your thumb slows down, barely, just long enough for something to almost register, a shape, a feeling, something that could become a thought if you stayed. But you do not stay. The moment collapses before it becomes anything.
Because you didn't decide anything. You didn't reject the input. You didn't choose it. You just continued. And in that continuation, something passes right through you, without being seen, without being marked. Because you don't stop, the moment is never evaluated. Detection requires interruption. Interruption requires duration, and duration never stabilizes here. What isn't evaluated simply doesn't become real.
The room stays dark. The light from your hands remains cold and flat. You don't move. Your face is entirely still. Your eyes are blinking less often. Face, text, video. Face, text, video. Nothing stays, nothing asks for more than a single second of your attention. And you give it exactly that. No more, no less. It's just a sequence of inputs. But sequence without structure is just motion. Shift. Pause. Continue. It's an inescapable loop. Something appears. Your thumb slows down for a fraction of a second. A thought almost forms. No reaction. No trace. It passes through you like it was never even there. And you keep going. Same rhythm. Same motion. Same quiet sequence of almost moments. Again, and again, and again. It flows beautifully.
As this loop continues, the movement itself becomes normalized, until the rhythm of sliding past things feels like the only thing that is real. Short exposures prevent consolidation, and without that, inputs never connect. You stop seeing it as something happening to you. You start seeing it as how you are. The repetition itself stabilizes your perception. It becomes your baseline. The system never forces your behavior. Nothing pushes you. Nothing tells you to stop or go. Everything simply aligns with your existing speed, perfectly matching your threshold. You feel like you're gliding efficiently, matching the pace of the information. What is actually happening is the complete erasure of interruption. Without a moment of resistance, you never have to question the environment.
This is how it aligns. It adapts to your existing patterns. It matches your speed perfectly. It mirrors your exact attention threshold. It systematically eliminates all resistance. It matches you so perfectly that you stop noticing there was ever something to notice. The system doesn't take control. It eliminates the conditions where control could even appear.
Now think about later, a different place, a different setting, but the exact same pattern. You're sitting across from someone. There's a table between you, a cup, half finished. The phone is not in your hand. It's face down, silent, still. Nothing is moving. And yet,
They're talking, words forming, sentences connecting. You hear them, but not completely. Something in what they said almost catches you. A tone, a pause, a shift in their voice. It could mean something. It almost does. You feel it for a second, just enough to notice something is there. And then, your trained internal habit of continuous movement forces you to slide right past it. You continue. The moment closes. They keep talking, you keep listening. Everything looks normal.
Nothing felt wrong. Nothing was interrupted. And because of that, you don't register that something just passed through you. The cost of this loop is invisible. Nothing breaks. Nothing disappears. Everything functions. The cost isn't loss, it is absence. A thought begins and you move past it. A feeling rises and you don't stay with it. Moments fail to stay long enough to become memories. You lose your own life simply by failing to pause for it.
Over time, this doesn't feel like a loss. Your perception is that you possess clarity, efficiency. You are moving through your day without friction. Nothing slows you down. But the reality is just empty continuation. Because you don't stay with anything, nothing builds. Not depth, not connection, not meaning. Just clean, empty movement. Absolutely nothing accumulates.
You search for the moment, something you can point to, a specific moment where control was lost, an event that explains it all. But there isn't one. There was no clear before and after, just a series of things that almost happened. You are trying to locate something that never formed in the first place. You can't find a break in the pattern because there was never an interruption.
At some point, you think you can take it back. You put the phone away, turn the screen off, you sit in silence. Nothing is moving now. Everything is still. For a moment, it feels like control is back. But then, something small happens. A thought, a shift, a subtle pull forward. Not from the outside, from inside. That exact same continuous internal pull moves you forward again.
You didn't notice it starting because it feels familiar. It feels like you. You quietly, automatically move through it, without marking the moment it begins again. Control was never taken from you. It was simply a condition that required you to stay. And you didn't. Not once, not long enough.
The ideas are human. The narration is digital. The system continues. If you want to understand how it feels to be inside it, watch Punchline Protocol. If you want to see how it works, watch Dark Side Protocol. Interpretation remains yours.